The city lights faded in my rearview mirror, replaced by the deep shadows of the countryside. I'd bought this place sight unseen, a steal I couldn't pass up. The agent called it a fixer-upper with character. Pulling up the gravel driveway, I saw what he meant. The house stood silhouetted against the dying sun, a two-story Victorian relic that seemed to slouch under the weight of its own history. It was just an old house, wood and nails and plaster. But as I stepped out of the car, a strange stillness fell over the property, the kind of quiet that feels like it's listening. The windows, dark and vacant, seemed to follow me as I walked toward the front door. It felt like I wasn't just looking at the house. The house was looking right back at me. Unlocking the heavy oak door, a wave of musty, cold air washed over me, smelling of dust and forgotten years. This was it, my new home. The first night was an exercise in settling in. Boxes littered the floor of the living room, their contents spilling out like a chaotic still life. The silence was absolute, a stark contrast to the constant hum of the city I'd left behind. It was almost deafening. I hope I can sleep tonight, I muttered to myself, stretching my arms over my head. A moment of silence passed. Then, from the far wall, a sound so faint I almost missed it. A dry, rustling whisper, "Sleep tonight." I froze, every muscle tensed. My head snapped toward the wall. Nothing, just peeling floor wallpaper and the faint outline of a water stain. It must have been the wind or the old house settling. Just my imagination running wild in this new, unfamiliar space. I shook my head, trying to dismiss it. But as I turned to head upstairs, the single bare bulb hanging from the ceiling flickered once, then twice, before settling back into its weak, yellow glow. The shadows in the room seemed to stretch and deepen, and for a moment, I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night air. The next few days fell into a strange rhythm. I'd work on the house, pulling up old floorboards, scraping away layers of paint. And I'd talk to myself, a habit I picked up from living alone. Just little things, reminders and stray thoughts. "I should call Mom tomorrow," I said one evening, wiping sweat from my forehead. From the wall beside me, the whisper returned, a little clearer this time, a little more defined. Tomorrow, my blood ran cold. This wasn't the wind. It was distinct. I walked over to the wall, pressing my ear against the cool plaster. Silence. I tapped it. Just a solid thud. "Hello?" I called out, feeling foolish. Nothing. But the phenomenon continued. The whispers were always there, just on the edge of hearing, echoing the last word of whatever I said. The most unsettling part? They were getting faster. It was as if whatever was in the walls was learning my speech, my cadence. It started to feel less like an echo and more like it was finishing my sentences for me. One night I thought, this place is driving me crazy. Before the thought had even fully formed, the whisper came, crazy. It was no longer just repeating what I said aloud. It was starting to anticipate me. The house kept its secrets during the day, but at night it gave them up. It started with a faint discoloration on the bedroom wall. I thought it was another water stain, but as I stared, it seemed to coalesce. Letters, written in a faint, spidery script, were bleeding through the layers of paint and wallpaper. I leaned closer, my breath fogging the cold surface. The words were barely legible. "Don't trust what answers." I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest. Over the next few nights, more messages appeared on different walls, always after dark, fading with the morning light. "It knows your thoughts. Leave." I ran my fingers over the plaster, but there was no texture, no ink, no indentation. The words were simply there, a ghostly archive written into the very bones of the house. It was a warning left by someone else who had heard the whispers, someone who had lived with this listening, answering presence. The house wasn't just echoing me, it was remembering. It was remembering what it had done to others. The change was subtle at first. I was sitting in the worn armchair in the living room, the quiet pressing in on me, my own thoughts a loud roar in the silence. I hadn't spoken a word for over an hour. Then the whisper came unbidden. It wasn't an echo this time. It was a question. Why did you come back? The voice was clearer now, less a rustle of leaves and more a dry, ancient breath. It wasn't my voice. It was something else entirely. Come back? I said aloud, my voice shaking. I've never been here before. The silence that followed was heavy, charged with a strange and terrible amusement. Then the whisper answered, firm and certain. You have. A wave of vertigo washed over me. I gripped the arms of the chair, the frayed fabric rough beneath my fingers. I'd have remembered this. A house that talks? You don't forget something like that. But the voice was so sure, so insistent. It wasn't just a presence anymore. It was an intelligence, one with a memory that seemed to stretch back further than my own, a memory that somehow included me. I had to find proof. Proof that I was sane, that this was just a house and I was a stranger within its walls. The attic was the one place I hadn't touched, a dark, triangular space under the eaves, thick with cobwebs and the smell of decay. Armed with a flashlight, I pulled down the rickety ladder and climbed into the darkness. Dust motes danced in the beam of my light, illuminating forgotten furniture draped in white sheets like a graveyard of domestic life. In the far corner, tucked beneath a stack of yellow newspapers, was a small leather-bound photo album. My hands trembled as I opened it. The pictures were old, black and white, the edges curled with age. They showed a family, a man and a woman, smiling stiffly at the camera, and a little boy. My breath caught in my throat. He was standing on the front porch of this very house. His hair, his smile, his eyes. It was me. A perfect miniature version of me, dressed in clothes from a bygone era, from decades before I was even born. As I stared at the impossible photo, the floorboards beneath me creaked. The lights downstairs flickered violently, casting strobing shadows up the attic stairs. And then I heard it. Not a whisper. Footsteps, pacing slowly, deliberately, from within the walls around me. I threw the album down and scrambled out of the attic, my mind screaming. I had to get out. I didn't care about the money, the deed, any of it. I just had to leave. I sprinted for the front door, my footsteps echoing unnaturally loud in the hallway. My hand closed around the cold brass doorknob, and I twisted. It wouldn't budge. I rattled it, pulled with all my strength, but it was sealed shut as if it were welded to the frame. Panic, cold and sharp, clawed at my throat. Let me out! I screamed, pounding my fist against the solid wood. The house was silent for a beat. The footsteps stopped. The flickering lights steadied. Then the whisper returned. It wasn't in one spot anymore. It was everywhere, coming from every wall, the ceiling, the floor, surrounding me, a chorus of dry, ancient voices speaking as one. The words were loud, clear, and final. You belong inside. I backed away from the door, my eyes wide with terror. With a slow, deep groan of old wood, the front door swung shut, plunging the hallway into near darkness. The lock clicked into place, with a sound of chilling finality. All I could see was the long, dark hallway stretching out before me, and from its depths, the whispers began to rise, swirling and growing louder, weaving together into an endless, suffocating welcome.